Robert, would you want to introduce yourself? Sugar. Okay, losing battery.
Right, losing battery.
We're at 20% battery, everyone. I just want you to know. Okay, go on.
We'll pull through. So I'm talking to you. I'm the founder and the chairman of a UK charity, Yes to Life. We're helping people to access integrative medicine. Integrative medicine, as I said earlier, means whatever might work to help them.
Yep.
So we're there to get around the problem of the fact that actually there's a load of sharks out there who might want to just take your money, and we're to point people towards good sources where they get reliable information, where they can build their own program.
Okay, so this came about because you have personal experience with cancer.
Yeah.
Describe the personal experience that you had and what led you to feel there was a need for what this charity offers.
Sure. So I had a daughter, Bryony. She had cancer 3 times. First time when she was 9. They actually cured the cancer when she was 9, but she had a cancer when she was 13 as a result of radiotherapy. That, again, was fixed for a while, but then when she was 23, she had a second cancer from radiotherapy. First time round, there was like no internet, didn't even have a mobile phone then. So it's pretty limited. We looked outside the box for sure straight away. We were just that way inclined, but we didn't find much, to be honest. Third time she got cancer, it had all arrived, 50 billion results for alternative cancer treatment. So I went out there to try and see what could help her, because she was in a bad state at that time.
Out there, what do you mean out there?
Well, there might be that I wasn't being offered at the hospital, basically, because they weren't offering a lot of hope, that's for sure, at the hospital, because she was in quite a state.
Right.
So I set out to do this job, and I was getting on average about 2.5 hours sleep a night, just on the internet, piling through this stuff. And there's, just list after list after list of things, and you've never heard of them, and you've got to work out, yeah, I've seen that one before, and that one looks like a load of rubbish, and that one might be relevant, I'll put that on the side. You just got to keep working at it and working at it and working at it, and you get absolutely opposite. One site will tell you this is going to kill you, and the other side says this is definitely going to save your life. And you've got to become some kind of minor cancer expert to even begin to make some choices in amongst all this. It's ridiculously hard for people, particularly if it's them and they've got cancer and they're doing this research for themselves. You just can't do it. So we realised right at that time I was doing that, look, people need some help. This job they need some help with. What
would you say, I mean, all this research you're doing, what were the oncologists that you were working with saying about you doing this?
Well, most of it went on the side, but actually it's incredibly weird what's happening in a way. I mean, at the time, one of the best things that I found, which looked good to me, was called photodynamic therapy. And I did actually go and talk to my oncologist about it. Why? Because photodynamic therapy, the leading place in the country, was part of her hospital. But she didn't actually know what it was. She'd never heard of it. But there was one of the leading photodynamic therapy centres was part of UCH. But because it's not like your regular stuff, she just never heard of it. So I found myself in this position of explaining to her what it was and how it worked. It's like crazy, I know nothing.
Right.
Anyway, it's a ridiculously tough call.
But the reason why I ask is because often you hear, don't Google.
Yeah.
I've got a mate who's a GP, and I always say, I've just Googled this thing I've felt, and I'm sure I've got X, Y, Z, and he goes, yeah, you're dying.
Yeah.
Because he's just like, Tom, don't Google.
Yeah.
Don't Google, right?
Well, at that time, okay, a lot of that, the stuff I was doing, I wasn't talking about.
You weren't talking about it?
No, there's no point, not really. We're talking more than a decade ago. It's got slightly better now. There are a few places where they might be a bit more open-minded and constructive, but not many.
Right.
So,
okay.
The dialogue ain't there.
So, so a problem that someone like yourself was faced with is what discerning. How do you discern?
Well, you've got to discern what's not a complete hoax, what's for real, what you can afford, where you can get it, whether it's you have to go to Argentina, whether you can get it around the corner. Who's a trustworthy character to get it delivered by. It's an absolute minefield.
And what's the state, from your perspective, what's the state, you've been doing this charity for quite a long time, over 10 years now. Yeah. What's the experience of people coming through now seeking help or advice or guidance?
It has changed quite a lot over the time. When we started out, practically everybody who came to us was kind of like they were absolutely on their last legs. They'd had every bit of orthodox treatment they could throw at it, and they were on death's door, and they just wanted somebody to save their lives. And so that was a pretty dire situation. That's changed substantially. Many more people. We might be the first people they call, or it's certainly much earlier on in the whole process. They're beginning to think, "I wonder what I can do to help myself,"
Right.
which is great. We love that.
Okay. Brilliant.
Can I do a plug?
Oh, go on, mate. Why
Right.
not? You're here. Plug away.
Absolutely. Look, we've got the charity's putting on a conference, which I think the kind of people who are watching tonight will be interested in. It's on the 19th of November.
Yeah.
And it's
all about metabolic.
It's all about the kind of stuff we've been talking about tonight.
Right.
It's entitled Charging Down the Wrong Path. And that is a quote from Paul Davies, who's a world-class theoretical physicist. And that's what he has to say about all of traditional cancer research. So it's looking at metabolics and epigenetics and their effects around cancer.
Brilliant. And I think, I think we're going to go and film that. I'm interested in knowing a little bit about that myself, just for the sake of this film. So, thank you, Robin. Thanks for coming. Thank you. Okay.